So submodule 2.3 will be covering how you should write each CV section with the use of ChatGPT. So in this submodule, I'll be expanding upon the previous module where I'll explain in depth about the logic behind writing each CV section, um, how you should be writing each CV section, and how ChatGPT can be used to achieve our goals. So as I mentioned briefly in the previous module, I personally think that the most important part of your CV is the tailor-made summary at the top of your CV. Quite a few candidates I've come across, they don't even include a tailor-made summary at the top. And this might be okay in some countries, but if you're applying for a job in the UK, or the US or Canada, or the EU, you've got to put your summary at the top because a lot of recruiters expect to see a more personalized version of your profile and your work achievements instead of simply going through the responsibilities that you might have had in the past. The personal branding aspect is very important in countries in the West, and that is why you've got to put a tailor-made summary that not just summarizes your previous experience, but also is made relevant to the job description, so that again, the recruiter can understand why your profile is relevant to the job you're applying for in under 10 seconds. So in this tailor-made summary, you've got to focus on your most relevant skills and experience that match the job requirements. I usually pick 2 or 3 only at most because you only have like 3 to 5 sentences at most to put in your tailor-made summary at the top. So you've got to focus on 2 to 3 of your most relevant skills, and this might change depending on which job you apply for. You also have to highlight your achievements using easy to comprehend figures and show how you can add value to the company. So what I usually do or advise candidates is that in their summary at the top also includes 1 or at most 2 figures, such as, increasing sales by 100%, let's say. Try and include a standout figure in your summary to catch the recruiter's eyes and show how you've managed to add value to your previous companies. It's very important that you think from the recruiter's perspective and understand how value is being measured. In this day and age, recruiters usually prefer quantifiable methods that can measure and verify the value you've added to your previous company. So it's very important to put some easy to comprehend figures in your tailor-made summary to make it stand out. The last point, very important, keep it concise and impactful using accurate command words, which I'll be sharing later on in this sub-module. And you also need to use, obviously, again, ATS-friendly keywords from the job description. So the use of figures, I've explained a little bit about what I mean by it. Even if you don't work in sales, it's quite easy to quantify what you've done. For example, if let's say you're a project manager, you might have at one instance completed a project, let's say 3 months ahead of schedule, and that is how you quantify what you did. So using precise command words, here are a list that I always use in my CVs to make sure I'm specific enough to describe what I've done in very few words. So do jot these down. These are very precise command words. And you need to avoid unspecific buzzwords, okay? As a recruiter, I hate when candidates include words that don't mean anything, like team player, like go-getter, synergy. These don't add value to your profile. And I'm not saying you can't add these buzzwords, but if you do add these words, you need to explain what you mean by it by showing examples. You can't just say you're a team player and expect me to believe you without having specific examples. So don't put too many of these in your CV, not just in your tailor-made summary. So here's an example of a poorly written summary. So let's say, so in this summary, you see that I mentioned myself as a hardworking, dedicated individual, committed to providing the best possible service, blah, blah, blah. It's very generic. It doesn't provide any specific information about my skills, achievements, or experience. And most importantly, it doesn't respond to the job description, which means that it's not ATS friendly, and there's a high chance that you'll be filtered out before getting, an interview. So here's an example of a much improved summary. So here you can see that I explicitly mentioned that I'm an experienced project manager by giving an example that is quantifiable as well. If I'm a recruiter, I'd immediately want to understand what you meant by putting the $50 million figure into the summary. It immediately catches my eye. And I also give a specific example about how I balance competing priorities and how I'm passionate in building strong relationships with clients by again giving a figure. So you can see that this is a much improved summary because it's precise and it catches the recruiter's eye in no time at all by giving relevant examples with easy to comprehend figures. So finally, let's talk about how ChatGPT can help us in this section. So here's a three-step process in asking ChatGPT for help. So what I do is input into ChatGPT three relevant work achievements that you're most proud of yourself. So again, ChatGPT is only a tool for you to help write your CV. You still can't lose the originality of your profile. ChatGPT can't give you that originality. So brainstorm three relevant work achievements. Again, by relevant, I mean relevant to the job description, and include some relevant figures into your work achievements. Step two, this is built on module 1 of this course, where I've taught you how you can come up with the right ATS-friendly keywords. So based on your keyword research, choose 3 to 4 keywords to include in your summary and input them into ChatGPT. Step 3 is to input the job description into ChatGPT and ask it to generate a relevant ATS-friendly summary. So in this next slide, I will dive specifically into how we can execute on these 3 steps. So if you just use my example, my input example here, just copy and paste it into ChatGPT after you've brainstormed around 3 work achievements you've got. You'll be able to ask ChatGPT to come up with a personalized summary that is ATS friendly. So the command is quite simple. Write me a summary of my personal experience for my CV. Make it relevant to the job description. Then you copy and paste the entire job description into the parentheses. The open and close inverted commas. Make sure it is ATS friendly and includes the keywords. Again, input the keywords that you've done in your keyword research stage and highlight my work achievements. And then you copy and paste the 3 work achievements that you've brainstormed just now. And by using this simple input, you are sure that ChatGPT will give you an original personal profile that matches to the job description. So section 3, work experience. Again, you've got to summarize your work achievements. And not only this, but you need to consolidate these by adding relevant figures. And I come across a lot of candidates that make the mistake of simply listing out your achievements, their achievements, um, and they don't really care if they are relevant to the job description or not, or even if they are, they do not think from the recruiter's point of view. Again, the recruiter only has around 10 seconds to read your CV, and if it's a long list of achievements that you've put in your CV, chances are that the recruiter will forget what you did. So here is a well-written work experience section that I've done. So let's say I'm a customer service representative from ABC company. You see, I'll put my job title and company name and work period at the top. I'll then write around 4 to 5 sentences summarizing my work experience using some of the command words that I've mentioned just now. And most importantly, in the orange highlighted section, you see that I've again inputted some figures that quantifies what I've done and consolidates my work achievements using figures. And again, recruiters will easily be attracted to by figures that you put into your profile and makes your profile look a lot more professional. So asking for help from ChatGPT. So step 1, input into ChatGPT 3 relevant tasks and 3 relevant achievements in each of your previous job. So do not save time here. Do this one by one. Ask ChatGPT to write out each job using the format I've described, instead of asking ChatGPT to write out all 5 or even more jobs that you've done before. Because what I found with ChatGPT is that the more information you give it, the less accurate the response given by ChatGPT. So what I'll do is I'll just input my instruction for each job one by one. Even if it takes a bit more time, I make sure that the input is what I want. Okay, so step 2, based on your keyword research, choose 2 to 3 words to be included into each summary of your previous jobs and input them into ChatGPT. Again, we must not forget about the ATS aspects of the CV. Step 3, again, we need to make sure that the work summary and achievements that we input into the CV is relevant to the job description. And the great thing about ChatGPT is you can simply command it to make it relevant to, the job description. So again, if you simply use my sample prompt here, put it into ChatGPT, you'll be sure to create a work experience section for your CV that is ATS friendly. So again, simply ask ChatGPT to write you a summary of your previous job, make it relevant to the job description, and insert the JD in the ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT to make sure it is ATS friendly and includes the keywords that you've researched before and highlights your work achievements and input them again into ChatGPT. So for the education part, you can also ask ChatGPT to write you a simple section highlighting your academic achievements, but I don't think it's necessary. It's because it's quite easy to just simply list out which education institution you've been studying in the past. So I'll skip this section and we'll jump straight into section 5 of your CV, writing down your soft and hard skills. So ask ChatGPT with the following prompts. List out 5 soft skills and 5 hard skills based on my work experience and summary that is relevant to the JD and ATS friendly. So obviously after ChatGPT spits out its response, you need to go through it again. If it's not relevant or if it's just simply writing things that are not relevant to what you've done before, you need to change it to make sure that it reflects you as a person. Do not forget the originality aspect of your profile. So some final tips for your CV. Again, identify and use 10 to 15 keywords from the job description throughout your CV. Don't simply just insert these keywords in for the sake of making it ATS friendly, but just keep in mind that you need to make sure that your entire CV is ATS friendly, but just that you wouldn't want to make it awkward by inputting keywords that are out of context. So again, keep it concise and easy to read. Make sure that your CV doesn't encompass more than 2 pages. If you are working in IT, perhaps there's a case to be made that you could write a longer CV, but in most industries, you shouldn't write your CV longer than 2 pages, and tailor your CV to each job. So lastly, again, if you are interested about life solvers, career coaching, CV writing services, and industry conferences to help you land your dream UK, US, and Canada job through the hidden job market, do view my Udemy instructor profile, where you'll see the relevant links. So thanks for attending this module.